Good day from St. Thomas. My name is Suzanne. This is Penelope. We're with the Love Light Project, and this is the next in our beginners yoga video series, explaining the different basic postures that you will encounter in most yoga classes so that you can feel more comfortable as you develop your own yoga practice. So we've already gone over sitting firmly and comfortably, so we'll start here. So you might need to have a blanket right underneath you. You might want to put some blocks underneath your knees or blankets, whatever it takes to be comfortable. Okay, so as you remember, we start in a comfortable seated posture. Sitting up nice and tall, right? So really grounding down, and also remember those side body, nice and long, ribs in, bring shoulders back, hands on knees, and start by connecting with your breath. So closing your eyes and inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your nose. So noticing the quality of your breath before we try to change it. Noticing your body as well. If there's any parts that are already tight just from the day, just noticing that. Noticing also your mind. If you're finding that it's moving really fast, just acknowledging that. So a good way to start every yoga session is to do the 6 movements of your spine. So let's do that together. Just bringing arms out to the side, bring arms up overhead, and release. Inhale, and then bring left arm down to your mat, and inhaling length. And so the first of 6 is a side bend over to the left, right? So relaxing your shoulder and trying not to lean forward, but instead come up. You can even look past the inside of your arm if that feels okay. Breathing. Then inhale, both arms up, relax shoulders, reaching. And then we'll take now the second of 6 movements, right? So just beginning to warm up the spine is really important in yoga. We want to avoid all injuries, right? So we'll take a twist over to the left. So now we're in 3, right, of 6. Inhaling length and exhaling twist. And make sure that you're not leaning backwards here, right? Or like off to the side, but you have your hand as a kickstand right at the base of your spine so that you're sitting up nice and tall and just rotating around that central axis. Breathing firmly here, fully, noticing your breath. Bring a good inhale and exhale, floating yourself back to center. Always pause in between twists, right? Iyengar teaches us the twist and soak, right? So as you constrict all that muscle and squeeze it all, then let fresh blood come in, and that's where the detoxification comes in, right? So inhale, both arms up, and exhale, we'll come around to the other side. So this is the 4 of 6 movements of the spine. So notice I'm not really muscling into this. I'm just slowly breathing intentional movement. Inhale and exhale. Come come back to center. So let's come onto all fours, continuing to warm up. Again, if your knees are sensitive, this blanket can help, putting the blanket right under the knees. But getting in proper alignment. Again, these fingers are spread really wide, right under the shoulders, right? So I'm not kind of immediately kind of doing that, right? I'm right under the shoulders, and my knees are right under my hips. So we'll do cat-cow series, right? We went over this in the last video. So inhale, shoulders come up and back, lift tailbone, come onto toes, and look up past your third eye, right? So this is the 5th movement of the spine. And then the exhale is the 6th movement, curling the spine up, looking back towards your navel. So you do a few of these. And let them be breath-led. Most classes will start with some sort of version of these 6 movements. And if there's anything that you can do in your day to bring health to your spine, it's to do those 6 movements and taking your time and breathing with them. If you can do that every day, you are going to feel better. Okay, so that is just about as basic of a yoga that you can do, right? So those 6 movements of the spine are very important. So let's add on here, and we're gonna thread the needle. So inhale your right arm out to a T, and then on your exhale, thread it through, right? So you're threading it through, bring your shoulder down, bring your head down, and breathe. So I'm feeling this in my upper back. I'm feeling this in my intercostal muscles in the rib cage. I'm taking my left hand and I'm really pressing away and reaching through. But you don't have to be that active. You can just relax into this. It might feel good to walk your hand towards the top of your mat. It might also feel good to bring it around and wrap it. Maybe you can kind of tuck it into the crease in your hip there. That might feel good. So breathing into this. Good, so now press into that left palm. Rise up, extend out, and then bring your right hand back down to center. And notice the very subtle asymmetry in your body. Left arm comes out, and we thread the needle on the other side. So one side may be different than the other for you. Breathe into that, breathing into the tight spots. No one but you knows what's going on in there, right? So identifying where it's tight for you and breathing into that tightness and feeling it dissipate, right? Just watching it relax. So this type of pose is a softening pose, right? And again, maybe you want your hand out. Maybe you want to try to bring it around. Whatever feels good. Right, let's press into the right palm and extend left arm out to the side and then down. So from here, with your fingers spread wide, lots of energy through the fingertips, curl toes under and let's come into down dog. So when you get in down dog, hamstrings might be really tight, right? Because we haven't really done anything with them. So this is called walking the dog. Right? Just bending one knee, bending another. Again, keep pressing away and you're trying to bring heels towards the mat. Your neck should be really relaxed here, looking back to the navel eventually. lifting gaze up to your hands, walk yourself up, right? So there's two options, right? So you see how you walked up to the top? But I could also take a giant step, right? Eventually, you'll be able to take a jump, right? So keep knees soft, come all the way up. Right? So here we are in Tadasana, and you're at the top of your mat. And we stand just like we did at the beginning, right? Just in the first video. Pressing down through the four corners of your feet, making sure that your feet are right under your hips. It's really interesting. So many of my students think their hips are bigger than they actually are, right? So a lot of women sort of come at me like this. But if you think about all the balancing postures, right, you want to get your center of gravity and the center of balance right underneath you. Right, so there's that pressing down of the foundation of the feet and then bringing your thighs inward, right? Engaging your abs, standing up nice and tall, right, these side body, nice and long. Ribs in, bring shoulders up and back. Weight in the hands, chin's neutral, and feel the strain coming out of the crown of your head. Breathing. So let's go through 3 rounds of sun salutation, right? We did it real slow last time. This time we'll do it a little bit more of a flow since you will know what to expect. Okay, so standing at the top of your mat. Inhale, arms come up overhead, and exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. All right, so extension through the crown of your head, and don't hang out here, right? So it's fingertips. Eventually you're gonna have your fingertips on the mat, right? But have them wherever they need to be, but like with action, right? So you're not hanging out, right? This is very intense. Having integrity in this transitional style pose is going to prepare your spine, right? Because now my spine is flat, I go to put my hands down, see my back's still flat, and now body's in one straight line for plank. Make sure that you're not too low or like that you're cheating, even though you're probably gonna want to at first as we're getting strength. Also, you want to bring your shoulders up, right? Breathe. So again, this is another good plank as you're building strength, and you know you're doing it right because your ribs or your abs are shaking a little bit. So if your abs aren't shaking, you're either super strong or cheating, right? So doing this with integrity. So you can bring knees down and then bring elbows tight to your body as you do chaturanga. Chaturanga is also really challenging when you first start a yoga practice because you want to bring all elbows out to the side like a push-up. But this is different. It's elbows right on the ribs. So you're bending backwards, right? So you want to have elbow creases facing forward, right? So that you can bend back, right? If your elbow creases face towards each other, you're bending sideways, and that's not proper alignment in yoga. Right, so you want to make sure that those elbow creases are facing forward just to help you out. Right? So if you're in full plank, you shift your whole weight forward. And then you melt heart and stomach at the same time. All the way down, shoulders come up and back. We're in Cobra now. And remember, you want to think about your shoulders in Cobra. You really want them to be open. You really want to have a stretch through your chest. And notice that I'm still in Cobra, even though my hands are not, I can take my hands off my mat. So it's a back bend, and the strength is coming from my back muscles, right? Curling toes under, you can go through, tabletop, lift hips. Here we are in down dog. Look up to your hands. Step yourself up in front of your mat. Keep that inhale for a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up. And bring hands together, right? So we did one. Inhaling halfway, that flat back again prepares you. Chaturanga. Breathing through this. Look up to your hands, step yourself up. Again, have a flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise. Hands together down to heart center. Again. Breathing. So from here, we'll come into three-legged dog. So in three-legged dog, you've got options here, right? So our right leg's up in the air. And so you can either keep your hips square, where see how my knee is down, my foot is flexed, toes are pointing down. The other option is stacking hips, bending knee. Right? I look under my armpit and I can see my foot. Right? So see the difference in hips. Look in between your hands and let's bring that right foot all the way through, right? So help it through. So we start in just a high lunge, okay? You want to make sure when you're lunging that your knee is not forward of your ankle, okay? Because that's bad for the knee. Right? So if that back leg is up, that back knee is up, you want your knee to be a little behind your ankle for support, or maybe right perpendicular above it. You can bring one hand to the thigh, two hands to the thigh. Inhale, arms come up. Breathe. Anjali Asana. And then inhale, exhale, open arms out to the side and bring this back foot flat. Okay, so your foot it's called known as pigeon-toed, right? So it's at the slight inward angle. And you want to look down and make sure that your heel, that you can draw a line all the way back to the center of your arch. Right? Bending your front knee, so bending this right knee. We're working this thigh back and this knee out, right, towards the pinky toe. That's pretty important. You don't want your knee to fall in. Also really stresses the ligaments out. So keep working that knee towards the pinky toe, and you close one eye and see your big toe. All right, and press down through the outer edge of your back foot. And obviously thighs are really active here. And so see how my hips are open to the long edge of the mat. My sides are long. Shoulders back, down. And then extend arms out to the side. And look forward, looking at your middle finger. That's your focal point. Now, this is Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Right, so this is not Warrior. Arms out, muscular energy here, right? Really do it. Like this is like you're about to go into war, is what to think about, right? War for peace. Breathe. My neck is long, and I'm not reaching. I'm not an anxious warrior. I'm not a timid warrior, right? Solid. From here, flip your front palm, reach forward, and come back. So this is known as sometimes exalted warrior. Sometimes people call this crescent warrior. but you want to reach down as you reach up. Okay, and there's this little bit of a back bend happening. It's really a pretty pose, right? So doing this with some grace, make sure that your chin isn't jutting out. Breathe. Abs are active. Again, so you can bend into that knee a little bit more to deepen it. And inhale yourself back to your warrior two. Now, bend front elbow, flip back palm, and we come into extended side angle. So you don't want a lot of weight here, right? So you might even be able to do this for a second and be like, whoa, right? Feel your obliques working hard, right? Breathe. Again, if it feels okay, you can look up or just look down or wherever. Breathe. So this is a nice pose too for props. This block is handy, right? Because as you know, blocks have three layers, three levels. Right? Because once you're stretching and this feels good, you might be able to do this. And there's a slightest back bend, right? I'm using this opportunity to stretch out, shine my heart. Okay, let's inhale, come up. And then let's windmill hands down to the mat. Move that block off to the side. Rotate back foot to your toes. Step back into a plank. Oh, now some strengthening as we do what is known as a vinyasa in between sides to return to a down dog. So if you're in a class that is a vinyasa style breath-led class, oftentimes a teacher will go through that process, right? After you do a flow like we just did, and she'll come down or he'll come down and say, all right, now we all do a vinyasa. If it's too much, if you're finding that your breath is labored and you're sweating and you're shaking and you're like feeling overwhelmed, just go back into down dog or go straight into a child's pose while everyone else is doing that. It's totally fine, okay? So always checking in with your breath as you're doing these poses so that you can stay safe and not overtax yourself. So we'll do other side here. So left leg up into the air. Again, thinking about the difference between hips square and hips open, right? And so I'm working my chest square as I'm lifting my knee up to the side. So there's a twist happening, right? That's your option. Look in between your hands and bring the foot through and come into warrior. We change sides. And the thing with warrior two is that you really want a very wide stance. I'm not a tall woman, and yet I am taking up almost all of my yoga mat. So if you're too short of a stance, your knee's gonna go further than it should over your ankle, right? So walking it back so that you can bend your knee fully. Again, really planting your feet down, checking that that front foot is parallel to the long edges of your mat. I can see my big toe. I'm bringing this thigh backwards, so I'm really opening up. I'm not leaning forward or back, but instead coming up nice and tall, arms out to a T. Focal point is my front middle finger. Relaxing shoulders. Also want to make sure that you're not sticking your butt out here, but your tailbone's tucked and you're nice and long. So we flip front palm, reach up. Not hanging out. Really extending. Create creating space in the body. Inhaling, and then we take that extended side angle. Right, so you're seeing how my hand and my leg are at the side angle. That's the angle they're talking about. Again, while you're here, you might like that block. But if you're finding that you're blocked, that you're trying to go down too far, and that your chest is facing your mat instead of up like this, okay? You're going too far. Don't do it, right? So if this is too much, right, and you find that your pose is bringing your chest down, I'd rather you have your upper arm resting on your thigh so that you can really work on opening up. This might be really intense on the shoulder too. To start, you can reach right up in the air, right? You can also bring your hand to your hip, right? Just keep working that extension and breathing. So it's this little bit of a rotation going. Okay, so there's a lot of options so that you're not finding an excuse to do it, right? You're saying, ow, this is hurting. Like, again, if it's pinching, if you're having pain that is intense and sudden, get out of it, right? If it's sort of like a dull, uncomfortable ache, well, that's yoga sometimes, right? So just breathing into that. So let's come down. We'll do that flow again, right? Walk off to the side. Breathe here. Every time there's this moment in class where you get to just breathe, take advantage of it. We can come back into child's pose. From here you can come to sit up. And then let's come off to the side, bringing legs in front. You want to sit up nice and tall here. Right? So this is known as Dandasana. Let me show you from the side. Staff pose, right? So these four corners of the feet, right, instead of pressing down, are now pressing out. And so I have very, very active feet, right? You see it's not bad. I'm really engaging the soles of my feet as well as my quads. My abs, I'm sitting up nice and tall, shoulders are relaxed. It's a very intense pose for just sitting here, right? So breathing and developing the muscles that hold us upright. And so we're just getting in proper alignment and getting used to sitting up nice and tall, right? Instead of that slouch. Okay, so bend your left knee and let's kind of open it off to the side. So bringing the sole of your foot to the inside edge of your extended leg. We're going to come into what's known as Janusarasana. Okay, so adjusting so that you're sitting up nice and tall. Again, if you need that blanket, don't hesitate. Inhale, arms up overhead, and exhale, reach, 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 right? So when you've maxed out, you can bring hands down, and then bring your shoulders up and back, right? So you have a flat back. It's almost like you want to have forehead to ankle, or chest to ankle. That's really a better way of thinking about it. Oftentimes in these forward folds, new yoga students will fold like this, right? Where they think that it's like forehead to navel, right? And like, so let's see I'll show you the difference here, right? So there's a forward fold versus this, right? So you're going a lot further when your shoulders are back and you're reaching down, right? So this is further than this. right? So thinking about doing these poses with dignity, right? Being really satisfied with exactly where you are in the pose, right? So shoulders are back and relaxed. It's one of the most important things with the forward fold, is trying to get this flat back. As you inhale, you think extension in your side body. And then exhale is just a little bit more of a fold. Again, this foot is really active. Inhaling, exhaling. Breathe. Slowly rise up. And let's bring soles of the feet together in between sides here. So this is known as Baddha Konasana, right? Cobbler's pose. So you can think about the idea of being so comfortable here that you're like working away on a shoe, right? So this takes time because you might be really high, right? This might be, and you might be wanting to do the death grip on the feet, right? So just relaxing and also sitting up nice and tall. Try not to round into this, but again, shoulders up and back, right? Thinking about that when you're standing in line, at the post office, thinking about shoulders back and relaxed with everything that you're doing, right? So we're really creating proper postural habits in yoga. Right, so just breathing into this and letting gravity do the work. Letting gravity relax the psoas and the knees slowly come down. Right, but that takes time, so breathing. Right, so we'll do opposite side. Extend your left leg out, flex that foot. Your right foot's right up against your thigh. Inhale and exhale. Again, that flat back. Again, relaxing shoulders back. Breathing. Active foot. So the other thing to think about as you're doing your forward folds is not your grocery list, right? Not your pedicure. Okay, you are thinking inhaling length, exhaling fold. Stay with the mind-body connection. You're going to get more benefit out of your yoga practice if you are staying present with your breath.
Spark healing. Yeah, the first step is when you stop believing it's real. Yeah, this is the one thing missing, I feel.
And then slowly come to rise up and kind of sit in a comfortable cross-legged position. Okay, so again, that might be with your blanket or with your blocks, but you're coming to sit. We're going to do a pranayama. Okay, so this is breath control. This is breath work. And there's all different kinds that are really fun to integrate into a yoga practice. But Nadi Shodhana, or alternative nostril breathing, is one of my favorites. So sitting up nice and tall, again, very comfortable. Keep your left palm on your knee and open your right hand up. And Penelope's gonna help. So taking your right hand, put your pinky in front of your ring finger and then bring your peace fingers together, okay? Bring your peace fingers to your third eye. And so you're going to be working with your thumb and your pinky to do this alternative nostril breathing, okay? So just start by breathing in through your nose regularly and then out. Breathe in. And then when you hit the top of that breath, close off your right nostril with your thumb. Exhale out your left. Inhale through your left. Then close it off with your pinky. Open up your right and exhale. Again, inhale. Close it off with your right. Exhale out the left. Inhale left. Close it off. Exhale right. Inhale. rounds of this. Big long breaths as you keep changing the sides. And then when you come to just breathe out your right nostril, you can bring your hand down to your knee. Feeling the effects of that alternative nostril breathing. And so let's come now to lie down on the mat and prepare for Savasana. So Penelope's helping me by letting me have my heels right on the edge corners of my mat, and I'm letting my pinky toes just fall out to the side. And I'm coming all the way down, pushing any props out of the way. Tuck shoulder blades under your body so that your arms are about 45 degrees from your body, palms face up. Get really heavy. And relaxing, right? Going through your body and making sure you're not gripping anything. Right? So your belly's soft, your glutes are relaxed, your shoulders relaxed, jaw, brow. Right? So habitualizing relaxation here. Closing your eyes. Savasana is all about conscious relaxation. Again, getting this habit in the body to not grip and grasp, right? Not have muscles working when they don't need to. You know, efficient use of energy. To relax in Savasana for about 5 minutes. And to come out of it, you just start to breathe a little more deeply. Move your fingers and your toes. Moving your ankles and your wrists. Right? Give a nice big stretch. Right? Bringing knees into chest. Rolling over to one side. Coming into fetal position for a moment. Move through this process very slowly. And then you can slowly press yourself back up and return to this comfortable seated position. And notice once more the impact of your practice. So noticing your breath now, noticing your body and your mind. Yoga has subtle benefits, as well as the bigger ones, when you notice that you can balance better and you're getting stronger, you're getting a little more flexible. Right? But noticing the subtle qualities, the change in posture, the change in breath, few moments where your mind is no longer racing. And so you're learning more in your yoga practice. So feel free to review this, learning the alignment techniques, learning the poses, so you feel more confident and deepen your practice. So thank you for sharing this with me. Namaste.